Hello and welcome to another Ultimate Game Host video. Today we're introducing Control Panel version 6 and some of the new features and redesigned elements that come with it. Now the first bit for this video is a little bit of news. We've changed our VPS offering so that you no longer have a hard set maximum number of game servers you can install. You can install as many as you like until the hardware can't take it, obviously. If you only have so much disk, CPU, and memory, you're eventually going to run out when you get too many servers active at a time. But this will allow you some more flexibility for having servers maybe you aren't using that you can turn on and off quickly as you're testing things out and playing different games. The Manage button is also now a wrench icon, and we've added a few new buttons next to it. The wrench still opens up the full control panel for that particular game server instance. So the CSGO, for instance, if you click the wrench, you get the control panel where you can adjust a lot of different options. The three new icons are, of course, new functionality. If we click on the pencil icon for, say, the CSGO server, that brings up this box that lets you modify aspects of the server that aren't specific regular SRCDS config values. For instance, the number of slots and the tick rate. You can change those items. So for instance, we can change the number of slots on this server, and it confirms which server we're changing it on here, so you can look down below and up here. We'll change the number of slots to, it's at 12 now, I'll change it to 8. We'll click on change, and this is going to change the command line on that server and reboot it. Now I've got both servers up here. We can see this one's currently at 12. Just wait a couple seconds for that change to sync to that server. And now we're at 8 slots. Rebooted, ready to go, and all set. The next option, tick rate. Tick rate is only really changeable for a couple of games now. CSGO and Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Slots is changeable for most games, except for those where it doesn't apply, such as Left 4 Dead 2 or Minecraft. So for tick rate first, we'll just look at what we have currently. So I'm going to open the full control panel for that CSGO server. And if we go to configuration and command line, we can see we're currently running tick rate 128, which for reference is the typical high performance command rate for CSGO. Now, if we wanted to make this, say, a surf server, so if we wanted to change that command line to being a surf server, we can click on the pencil icon, click on tick rate, and then for surf, it's 102.4. So we enter that, click change, and the change is queued. We have to wait a little bit for the server to restart. But as we look over here at the config, we can refresh, and now on this particular game server instance, the tick rate has changed in the command line to 102.4, and the server should already have restarted and come back up. This next feature we're really excited about is server cloning. So if you have two servers of the same game type, you can now clone one server to the other. This is really useful if let's say you've got a server set up with all your add-ons and everything, and you're about to make a big change, like you're going to the next version of an admin plugin, that sort of thing. You might want to clone that server first, so that if something bad happens, you can clone back to the original to fix it. So for example, I'm going to take this tests CSS server here and clone the production server here over to it. So I'm going to click on the clone button, and we're currently on, so if I move this off to the side, you can see that I've selected the source server as this top one. It's Counter-Strike source, and we have a test CSS down here, and this already knows which server is eligible. So one thing to note is the command line is not copied. So things like the number of slots don't come with this, but the host name, all the config stuff does come with it. So I'm going to click clone, and I might pause the video here while it's doing that. But essentially you can see it turned both servers off, and now it's going through the steps of copying all the maps, all the add-ons, all the config files over between those two, and it'll make this bottom server exactly the same as the other except for the number of slots and of course the network port will stay the same. But this can be really handy if you're about to make a big change and you don't want to lose what you did. Of course, building servers so you can clone them multiple times takes disk space, so you got to keep that in mind, that as you do this, you're eventually going to end up running out of resources if you do it too much. So I'm going to click refresh, and well, I didn't even need to break the video there. By the time I was done talking about it, we're cloned, and you can see this is now set up to be that server. So we have a clone in all aspects other than the command line of that other server, and it was just that easy to set it up. The next feature we've added is the ability to delete a server. Now, there's no going back from this unless you've purchased backups for your VPS, which is an option when you're checking out. But if you say you didn't want this CSGO server anymore, and you're tired of having disk usage that's too high, for instance, in this particular one, we're running it pretty close to the max at 92%. If I go back to the servers and we delete that CSGO, so I'm going to go ahead and yes to delete this. And it's going to remove the disk space that server was taking and remove the server itself. It'll take a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll break the video and wait for this to catch up. It should be, this graph updates every 5 minutes. So once that updates, I will bring us back and we'll end this video. Okay, so we're back after the break, and the graph now shows that our current disk usage is at 45.8%. It's down from the 90% that it was earlier. So reflecting that deleting that server helped free up space on the VPS for other servers or more maps for a different server. That's all for the VPS version 6 video. Thank you for watching.